3 a.m. and I'm laying on my back, staring at the ceiling fan as it goes around and around and around. Its humming usually lulls me to sleep, but not tonight. If you ever wake up at 3 a.m. and your heart tells you something is wrong, it's probably right. I should have gone back to bed, let my mind drown in the comfort of my bed sheets, let my heart settle with the raindrops trickling right outside my window. But instead, I pulled up the covers of my bed and I walked away toward the light of the bathroom that's right next to my bedroom. It was 3 a.m. and I knew that I should go to bed because in a few hours I would be on a bus to Susquehanna, PA, facing a day that could include an acceptance to Duke University. But instead, here I was, grappling through the darkness of my room towards this light. And as soon as I step into the bathroom, the first words I hear that morning, "You couldn't revive him?" It was a statement, not a question. But my mom kept repeating it like a question. "You couldn't revive him?" Why do we ask questions we don't want to know the answers to? She turned around, but I already knew in my heart what she was going to say. She said, "Your grandfather is dead." See, I called my mom's dad Nana. When I think of my grandfather, I see his big smile, I hear his deep, hearty laugh. He's usually plopped on the couch across from me with his legs crossed and his glasses on his head, reading a newspaper. And even though every morning in his farmhouse in Delhi, that's what he did, I think I remember him more often than that. Because we both bonded over a love that we had for something that we loved almost as much as we loved God and family: food. My grandfather had this insatiable appetite and a huge stomach to prove it. And he was pretty self-conscious about that stomach of his. Every morning, he would put on his tennis shoes, put on his sweatpants, and get ready for some strenuous exercise. But the truth was, the exercise never happened. He would just walk to the closest street vendor, get some and go right back. And growing up, I was always compared to him. I do love food. But I was scared of that comparison. I love food, but I would take one look at that stomach and say, I don't want that. But that didn't stop us from bonding. Every time I went to India, we would take these trips to beautiful places around the country. And one summer, we found ourselves at this Rajasthani palace and on the courtyard. And there was a small musical group there sitting on a dusty old rug playing some folk music. And my aunts, my uncles, my mom, my grandparents were all dancing and singing along to the songs. My grandfather, he turned to me and looked, as I was just sitting on the corner, and he goes, "Look at your mother. Look how beautiful she looks. You dance just like her, you know. Why don't you go up there and dance? Look how beautiful she looks." I was the only daughter of his only daughter, so I think even from 1,000 miles away, that's grounds for being the family favorite. And half a world away was where I was that morning. My mother had just gone downstairs to the basement to get a suitcase so she could go back home. And I opened the door to the basement and I saw her sitting at the bottom of the steps, shaking. So I walked down next to her and I sit down and let her rest her head on my shoulder. And for the first time that morning, I started to weep. And we just sat there and cried and shaked. I don't know how long. And then, as quietly as the grief that was ebbing and flowing through the room, she whispered, "How did this happen?" Another question. Another question I couldn't understand why she asked. How did this happen? Why do we ask questions we don't want to know the answers to? So the last time I went to India, my family all scattered across the country, and I was left in a farmhouse with my grandparents. My parents had gone on vacation with my brother, my aunts and uncles to a relative's anniversary, my cousins had gone to birthday parties and friends' houses. So I was in the house alone, eating dinner with my Nana and my grandmother. When my grandmother was crying on and on about how she would miss me, and at dinner, my grandfather, he just looks at me and he says, "They only make good food in this house when you're here." That's why I'm gonna miss you. I don't blame him though, that is a good enough reason for me too. So my grandfather, he thought he was going to live to be 100. And he lived every day like he was going to. His own father had lived to be in his 90s. That's why it wasn't surprising that in the car ride to the airport, when my grandmother and I were talking on and on in between her sobs, trying to squeeze a year's worth of conversation into an hour, my grandfather just was sleeping quietly in his seat. But maybe if I knew then what I know now, I would have woken him up. Maybe I would have tried to squeeze in the 30 years that I thought we had into the hour that I know that we had. But instead, I just let him keep sleeping. When we got out at the airport, we're getting our stuff out. My grandmother is still crying, and she chokes out in between her sobs. "We don't see you nearly enough. You have to come back and visit sometime this year." My grandfather just turns and says, "We need to stop being so dramatic. We'll see each other soon. We'll see each other soon." Another statement. One that feels so much more like a question every day that I think about that moment. But he guaranteed that we would see each other soon. Why do we say things that we don't possibly know are true? So I gather up my stuff, show my passport to the guard at the gate, walk into the airport, and look back from the glass box, and I wave at my grandparents. And that was the last time I saw him in person.